listening to Xposed Living, Be Ageless, the podcast where we drop the masks, flip the script, and talk real life, real love, and real leadership unfiltered. I'm Stacey Vanthuyne, coach, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of the Xposed Living movement that's redefining what it means to live, lead, and grow at any age. We talk identity, reinvention, belief, and freedom from the bedroom to the boardroom. Yes, we go there. This is not about staying young. This is about waking up. So if you're done with the shoulds and craving more fun, more freedom, more truth, more you, then grab your favorite drink, your bestie, maybe your journal. It's time. Let's get exposed.
There's a version of success we see on the outside, the business, the growth, the momentum. But what we don't always see is what it takes to build that while life is happening at the same time. Family, young kids, another on the way, renovating a house, and making the decision to go all in on something you once built on the side. Because the truth is, there's no perfect time. There's just the moment you decide to go. Welcome to Xposed Living, Be Ageless. I'm Stacey Vanthuyne, and this is where we talk about what it actually takes to create a life that works, not just on paper, but in real time. Today's conversation is about building a business, building a family, and a life all at once. Dave Pavlich is a founder and creator, director of concept clothing and culture, where he works at the intersection of style, strategy, and personal brand. But here's what makes this conversation different. Dave's work starts with what people see: style, presence, image, how you walk into a room. My work often starts with what people don't see: belief, self-image, standards, and identity. And that's what makes this conversation so interesting and so exciting. I'm ready to dive in because the next level of your life isn't built only from the inside out, nor is it built only from the outside in. It's built in the alignment between the two. So today, we're talking about what that actually looks like in business, in life, and in who you're becoming. So let's get into it. Dave, welcome to Xposed Living.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, Stacey.
Oh, it is a pleasure. I have loved meeting you for the last couple of months and getting to know you, style, and I'm really glad we're doing this because I don't think enough people talk about what it actually takes and looks like to build a business while life is happening at the same time. But before we even go there, you and I both, as I mentioned in our intro, work with identity, just from different angles. You focus on how people show up externally, or add some internally, and I focus on how they build that from the inside out. So let's start here. When did you first realize that how someone shows up externally can actually shift how they see themselves internally?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to when I was going to school. I worked in finance part-time, and my boss, I looked like a young kid. I obviously didn't have a beard. I looked really young. I had tattoos, and my boss always came in like a great suit. But he really explained to us that your suit is like armor, right? And it kind of gives you that mental trigger. They explained to us at that time that even when you're making a cold call, get out of your sweatpants, put on a suit, and see the performance shift, performance increase. And that's one thing that psychologists call inclusive cognition. And that's what that is, right? So it's a mental trigger. Your clothes is actually a mental trigger for how you're going to perform that day. Same if you're at the gym. If you're wearing a brand new outfit and you look good, you're going to increase your performance at the gym.
I know that, I used to manage a team in call center and customer experience. And so some people just come in their hoodies and whatever the case may be, right? And we always said, keep a mirror on your desk because you can look at yourself. And we worked in a place where people didn't see you, but how you feel about yourself comes across in the tone. And when you feel like you just woke up and came into bed, you're going to sound like you just woke up and came into bed. So kind of alluding to what you were talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you will.
When did your love for fashion which is different than what you went to school with and started and really come to be.
My love for fashion started as a young child because my mom's from Montreal. So we moved to Alberta when I was 10 years old, and my mom would be dressed up to the nines to go to the grocery store, right? So that was always instilled in us, our presence, since a very young age. And yeah, I fell in love with clothes and how it made me feel, and how that, whatever I'm wearing for different occasions could really shift the room that I'm in, right? You could really dress the way you want to dress. If you're going to a concert, you're going to dress more like a rocker, and you're going to feel like that energy shift, right? If you're going to school and you're looking put together, you're going to act put together, your behavior is going to change. So that started when I was young, and I also worked in clothing stores when I was in high school.
Okay.
And my real love for fashion isn't just the clothes, but it's how it makes people feel. And that authentic relationship between me and my clients when I was just in high school, where I tell them when something looks good on them and something didn't look good on them, and it didn't matter what price. It could be an expensive pair of jeans, and I was like, no, those don't look good on you. I was very genuine with my approach, and people would actually wait to come and deal with me instead. And we were on commission instead of working with the other salesperson. So internally, that created a little bit of a competition between me and other staff members that I worked with. But people did decide to wait around and wait for me, and that's what I fell in love with, was the one-on-one connection and seeing people feeling empowered and confident when they left that, knowing that I was giving them proper advice.
I love that. And I know that continues on today to when people come and see you, because I'm sure some people come in thinking that they want something, and then you end up meeting them where they're at, but sharing with them how another look, style, color could change it. What is your approach when you do that with people?
Absolutely. I'm very straightforward. I'm a blunt person to begin with. So I definitely give them my opinion. Of course, everything is custom. So like there is things that if somebody's really adamant about, what we'll move forward with it. But we do have expert guidance here and expert house style that we can help you with. But further to that, I build trust with my clients because they'll come in, and sometimes I'll send them to different stores. We make custom shoes here, but the price point is a little higher. They're made for wearing every day. So if I have a blue collar worker and he's coming to get married and he's wearing a very bold suit, and he wants to buy a pair of shoes, well, I'm going to say, man, I don't want you to spend this kind of money. These are meant to wear every day. You're only going to wear these a few times a year. This is the price point you should go with. This is where you should go. And same with my graduation, the students that are graduating and spending all this money on them. I try and even it out. Like, you're spending this on this, but he's going to grow out of this shirt maybe. So maybe go here for the shirt instead. So I'm really not about transactional sales where it's massive volume. It's really about the relationship I have with my clients that makes us different here.
It's so good. When people can come to you and know that you're giving them the best advice, it's not about you. And that's what I think I've always loved about you from day one, is you can tell your genuineness and that you're there to add value and give. And in that, just have this knowingness that all will come around.
Yeah, thank you for that. I really want that to come across, because that's the most important thing about life, is adding value to others, and that's how you get value added to you, right?
Yeah.
It's how the world actually functions, the hidden laws to the world.
Oh, people like to call it, it's a little karma. I'm like, well, it is karma. It's the law of compensation. You get what you give. I mean, your outside world is a reflection of how you are, how you treat people. And I see that around you. When people are around you, you have this energy that people want to be closer, to know more. And what I also loved about when you were talking about it is just the transparency and the vulnerability going into your story and sharing how you got from corporate role into where you are now and continue to build. So share with people that little bit of a story.
Yeah. So, after school, let's rewind. So when I grew up in the fight business. My dad actually, Mark Pavlich, legalized the sport of mixed martial arts in Canada. So I grew up in the fight business. And so that meant I was in Vegas all the time as a young buck. And I fell in love with casinos because in a casino, everything I liked was in a casino. So if you're in Vegas, you go to a casino like Caesars, the biggest fashion brands in the world are in there, right? Which I love fashion. Then I'm a big foodie. I like experiencing new restaurants, trying new things. All the best chefs in the world have restaurants there. I'm huge on entertainment, either from ballet or magicians or anything. I love entertainment. I love shows. I love concerts, and every big entertainer in Vegas, right? And, and then further to that, you had I'm a big poker player. I've been playing poker forever. That was in a casino. And then, of course, combat sports was hosted in casinos. So everything I liked was in a casino. So after school, I actually got a job with Gateway Casinos, and they're the biggest casino group across the country. They own 32 casinos from coast to coast. And I was actually hired to open Grand Villa Casino in Rogers Place, so attached to the Oilers, which to me felt like the most Vegas-like casino because we had a box for the Oilers concerts, we had a high-end steakhouse upstairs, so a lot of food and beverage, not just your typical Alberta gaming center, but a full spectrum entertainment center. So I love that business, and I worked in that business for 5 years, and I wore suits every single day. And when I went to a local tailor to get some suits made, they didn't fit and they didn't do anything to help me get to that set. So I was on my own. So I was like, there's a gap in the market here, definitely from a service aspect, right? There's a gap in the market. So just for fun, I started networking around. I met a gentleman who had contacts in Europe. And I actually was planning a trip with my wife that summer. So we ended up going out there and meeting the fabric mills and sourcing our fabrics. And I just launched the business as a side project, just while I was working, and kind of did this when meet people after work. When COVID hit, I could have waited around for, but I didn't because I'm like you, Stacey. I'm ambitious. I want to keep it going, and I can't just sit still. So I took a role. Luckily, I have a really good network and circle, and I took a role as the vice president of marketing for a nanotech firm, and we focused on products for aviation. So we're always going to aviation conferences, meeting people that are very affluent, that own planes, plane groups like the Takeoff Group, Millionaire, these kind of groups, right? And I would just, again, build my book of business and meet people after work. I've got a few Oilers that are my clients, and then I slowly built my business up until I couldn't just meet people after work anymore. They would call me in after the Oilers posted a picture of Ekholm carrying my bag through off the plane during the Stanley Cup Finals, and people would call me and say, "Hey, how about 11 a.m.? Can I book at 11 a.m.?" I'm like, 6 p.m. when I'm done my full-time job. And then, of course, I felt like the imposter syndrome at that point because I'm like, well, like I really need to dive full-time into this and put my whole effort into this so that I could really come up with the expert branding, really dive into, the style, the fashion, the timeless, the history of it, really know my stuff completely, and not that I didn't before, but I really dived into it exponentially.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it just grown month over month.
What is the background in the naming of Concept?
Okay, so when I first started Concept, my vision, because I'm more of a behind the scenes guy, contrary to how people, perceive me, because it's a lot of work for me. I'm very much introverted. I'm not extroverted. It takes me a lot of gusto and, preparations to get in and do these kind of things or go out and network. But Concept was supposed to be concept by. So I want to hire other creative directors. So basically, like whoever. So uh, let's say I hired you to be my creative director. It would be concept by Stacey Vanthuyne. And the beautiful thing about concept is that it's a abstract thought created from scratch, and that's what we're doing. We're building something from your thoughts. We're building something completely from scratch for you, handmade. And the spelling of it is a bit different because I wanted to own the .com.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed some letters around. And concept typically has 7 letters, but I liked 8 letters better. I like the symmetry of it. And I tried every single letter, like 2 letters of everything, 2 X's, 2 T's. But the best looking from a visual standpoint was 2 P's. And luckily enough, my last name starts with a P, so I made it concept with 2 P's. But yeah, a lot of people ask me that question. And at first I was like, oh, well, the spelling's hard. People, but then you see like celebrities and things like that now, like their names are so wild and so misspelt, and from hip hop artists to all kinds of businesses. So I was like, okay, it kind of fits more of this modern style.
Love that. I love the accident with Xposed, and I totally understand the name spelling, as that's where I was sharing as I'm evolving my brand. I was like, well, are people going to be able to spell Vanthuyne? Like, how are they going to? It's like, you know what? There's concept out there. If they can spell concept, they're good with
Yeah,
Vanthuyne. There you go.
yeah, it's so true.
You know, a real thing that you brought up when you were telling your story was around that imposter syndrome. And a lot of people start to feel that. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on how one can overcome this concept of imposter syndrome, but how did you shift your own identity from having that corporate image to the man behind the brand and really dealing with the people that you are? Because a lot of the people that you come in have a strong identity, have that confidence, the conviction, the courage, and here you are matching it. So share with me your story, but then if somebody else is feeling something like that, any tips you have for them to start to act from their own greatness?
Well, the first about imposter syndrome for me was that I didn't go to fashion school. I'm not, like that was the first time I was like, well, I'm not like your natural designer. I'm a business person first and foremost, a marketer that just loves the style and fashion. So at first, I kind of felt that, but I don't think there's many people that read more than I do about style, that listen to it, that, listens to all the other designers more than I do. So I think that the first step is to really dive into that product and just know that everybody feels imposter syndrome. And that's what really got me to switch my mindset around, is that I listen to podcasts and I read books, and every big business person has felt imposter syndrome at one point or another. And we all feel it, and just know that we're all relatable on that standpoint. And also, it helped that my COO at the time at the casino was buying suits for me. So, at first I was like, oh, I got to hide this, that I'm doing 2 things. But people really gravitated to my business and allowed me, like I launched my first big fashion show event when I launched the business was actually hosted at Atlas in Starlight Casino in West Edmonton Mall, which was one of my properties.
Yeah.
So they allowed me to do that. So it's kind of like double dipping. And usually with corporate jobs, you didn't have that. And I was really lucky to have a team behind me that supported my dreams.
You know, it's funny. You've mentioned luck a couple times, but I have this feeling that it has nothing to do with luck, but the quality of the person you are and what you give. Going back to that earlier comment around karma, and you get what you give. Hey, switching gears just a wee bit. You're building the business, raising a young family. You're expecting another baby, renovating a home, all of these things. A lot of people get the excuses of, I can't start something new because all of this stuff is going on in my life. And, you're proving that wrong. What does, if there is ever such a thing, because I often say balance as well as imposter syndrome is bullshit, because to your point, it's just that you haven't got there yet, but our results don't determine who we are. But my question is, what does that sense of balance look like for you right now? How do you keep it all going?
Yeah, well, the balance, it's funny because I really do believe in balance to a certain extent. I mean, now my life is the balance is that everything flows together, right? Business and work kind of all flows together. So I don't live in 2 buckets where it's like this is work and then this is family. It all flows in one bucket. However, sometimes you just have to dive in. And I'm an older dad. Well, I guess not in this day and age per se. Like I had my first child when I was 34, 35, and I never thought we were gonna have kids, and never thought that I was ready. Right? You get to a point where it's like, oh, I want to have this much money. You're never ready for anything. You have to dive in. Like perfection doesn't exist. You just have to take that action, that step forward. And I think that that's what's so important in life is, we wait for the right moment, and there is no right moment. The right moment is right now, right? And you have to do it now. And if you just wait, you never know what's going to happen to you. You never know. So you just got to just do it, like Nike, just do it.
Seriously.
And then the house, we bought a house to gut it, totally gut renovated a house, which is a project we've never done before.
Yeah.
And we took the bull by the horns on that one and learned so many lessons. But we weren't even expecting our second child at that time. A month after buying the house, my wife got pregnant, and that one was unexpected. So now that we did a house through that, raising a toddler, I think that we're gonna be golden. This was like probably our biggest test to our marriage ever. So those sacrifices that you make, right, and it kind of either bonds you together or separates you, but it kind of just bonded our family together. And I'm very, very lucky again to have a very supportive wife that takes care of our home life because entrepreneurship, a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur for freedom, but you turn a 9 to 5 into 8 to 10, um, right? So that's really, but the reverse uno to that is that if I wanted to take a morning off and spend time with my son, which I do a lot of the times, I have that opportunity. With a 9 to 5, you really don't. So it's freedom to be able to work, but it's definitely longer hours. So I would say, yeah, just dive into it and just get it done. I mean, there's no perfect time, there's no perfect moment. Momentum doesn't chase, doesn't knock at your door. You have to be ready when the opportunity comes. You have to be ready to take it.
Best advice ever. Like, seriously, mic drop. And you're so right. I see it all the time. I've been there. It's like, I'll wait till I have more money. I'll wait till I have more time. You notice how you never have either? And I think it's this fear sometimes, but often it's us protecting ourselves that I'm going out to something that's not in my normal. And there's this opportunity then to expose myself into something that may or may not work. And so when you are as an entrepreneur, what do you think is one of the like most important qualities that a person has to be successful in business and potentially life? Because I love how you said, like, I think there's so much value in not bucketing things, but like, how do you want to live your life? And that includes our health, that includes our relationship, that includes our work. And you're finding that alignment in what's important to you. But what have you found is one of the most important qualities?
Would say self-discipline and probably resilience, right? Because
Mm.
you're going to get knocked down. It's about how you get back up, right? It's that there's a Thai saying, or I believe it's Thai. It's like you get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, right? And that's life. It's going to knock you down. Not every moment's going to be perfect, but that resilience to come back and keep showing up is most important. But even before that, it's self-discipline, and that's what concept is built around. We're not a transactional company where it's like, oh, we sell clothing. We're very much about building a brand that fits our narrative with our customers, right? People that put in effort in the gym, people that put in effort with their kids, people that put in effort at work, people that put in effort in how they look and how they take care of themselves, how they act, effort in how they behave and how they treat others. So for us, we really embody the brand, and so we're not a brand made for everybody. We're made for a certain type of individual, and I always say that we're one of our taglines is tailored for the ambitious. Right? We want the people, the rebels, the creators, the people that are going out there and making something of themselves. That's who I want to be around. So that's again grateful or lucky. I'm lucky in the position that I am in my life that I could be around the people I choose to win with. And that's what we're doing. Create a
So
circle of people of winners and who want to put their best foot forward and be their most confident self.
See, this is why I just felt this connection right from the start. I'm like, effort, impact, let's freaking go. And how important that proximity is to other people. I love how you phrase that. I want to be around and create a culture, a family, a knowingness of winners that, and it's funny, right? Even we were talking earlier before we press record on the Oilers game and thing. And it's in those times when you really are tested that you know your attitude. It's easy to have a good attitude when things are going well. But how do you show up when you are a winner, but maybe your results aren't showing it right now is the true, for me anyways, definition of somebody with like an attitude that I want to be around.
Absolutely. It's when no one's watching, what are you really doing, right? And we all know deep down if we're putting in the right effort or not, right? And we know that when nobody's watching, what are we doing? I'm still going to the gym. I don't, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching either, because there's people go through so many different things in their lives, but you prioritize what's important to you. And and I think that I really believe in a concept of being selfish to be selfless, right? And if I don't pay attention to my mental health and my physical health, for me, both collaborate together. If I don't make time to go to the gym, I'm not going to be the best dad in the world. I'm not going to be the best husband. So all of the little things, I can make the excuses saying I'm busy, I'm building a house, or I can do this, but you just got to go and again, you just got to do it and be having that discipline, right? To just know deep down what you need to do and just do that.
Yeah, I love it. I think what really helps that is when people have that clarity of vision and they know what they want and you have that. And then you made a decision to go after it. And that does require discipline. We have to say no to certain things that we maybe wanted to say yes to at one time. But if it's not in alignment with where we're going, especially when we're juggling and have so many moving pieces, it's critical. And I like how you say that discipline is such a required or needed or valuable competency, because it truly is. And that's the differentiator between those that continue to grow when persistence hits or when obstacles hit and you persist through it, or when they don't.
Yeah, and even discipline in your finances, right? How many people
Yeah.
make a bunch of money and then go out and spend it all, right? So you've got to be disciplined. Life kind of gives you the position of where you've prepared for that position,
Yeah.
like where momentum meets preparation, or where momentum and opportunity meets preparation. And I think that that's such a key indicator into, the person you're going to become.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, when you say style as a strategy, can you just expand on that a little bit? What that means for real life, speaking of different brand taglines and things that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So stylish strategy is our ethos around how we show up in the world, right? Because a lot of people think style is vanity. Oh, look at that guy, he's dressing up, or it's money. Style has nothing to do with vanity. It's real style. I mean, fashion can be vanity, because I differentiate. We're not a fashion brand. We're a timeless, we're a style company. And stylish strategy to me is that you have about 7 seconds in a first impression, right? So how you're making an impact in that first 7 seconds of meeting somebody is how they're going to remember you. And it's so hard to convince them otherwise. So what we're trying to do with style is remove doubt. We're trying to remove doubt from somebody not believing in what you're selling, what you're pushing, what you're promoting, right? So style isn't about fashion trends and looking. It's about removing doubt and showing that you're competent, that you respect the room, you respect yourself. It's already speaking before you, from psychology of the colors you're wearing to the wardrobe you're building, right? Is very important. And it all leads to using style, not as like, oh, I'm wearing this because it's a Gucci shirt and it's Gucci all around. It's about how put together that guy, you know, have you ever watched the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
Right?
Leonardo
Like,
DiCaprio.
yeah, with Leo, right? And like, he's selling himself, and like, it's how he looks, how he talks, right? It's removing that doubt. And unfortunately, he was a criminal, and it's probably not the best example, but it just shows that psychology
Yeah.
of how you look, how you're put together is a really big factor in how you how other people perceive you and how far you can go in your own life.
It's a fantastic example because it shows that the quality of the heart underneath that will determine your results. There's two ways of going out and leading with conviction and having that courage and acting with that certainty and confidence that's magnetic for people. But over time, whether it's coming from an ego standpoint or really one of giving and humble, I always have humble and hungry, it will determine those results. So it's very interesting. I think it's a really good example of showing, because it's up for then the person that's talking to really differentiate. And a few things that you've said actually in three different things is overriding beliefs around filling up your cup before others is selfish, where we know that we can't give to another person unless we give to ourselves. Overriding a belief around the style and what that means. And that if somebody's just looking well and holding themselves with presence, that must mean that, that they are on that ego side, which is not true, can be, but not different perception. And then even this one, right, of the importance of how your style can influence those around you and how important it is to be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give an example. Like the other day, I was at a meeting, and I'm not going to say the brand, but like there's people in the finance world, and they're just wearing like a golf shirt with their financial logo on them, right? Instead of like, and I'm like, you expect me to invest, $500,000 into you, and you're wearing, something that, you look like a frontline staff at Best Buy or something like that, right? And again, these are people are going to take it derogatory, but I guess controversy sales, so this might be a good clip. But
Hey.
How am I supposed to trust you with my money if you don't look like you know how to manage money?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and don't get me wrong, it's just perception. It could be psychology. They could be amazing at what they do, right? And the person wearing the full suit could be terrible at what they do. But the first step is to convince me that you're good at what you do, and that's not you putting your best foot forward, right? And I think that people, not enough people understand how many opportunities they're missing,
Yeah.
by not dressing the part to where they are, right? Yeah. Like they're not growing their business because of it. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's not true. I hear a lot of times CEOs when I deal with, where I already made enough money, Dave. I can wear a t-shirt and jeans, right? I'm already successful, right? And I say, what about your lawyer? Do you think he could just show up to the courtroom wearing a t-shirt and jeans and say, hey, I'm a lawyer, I made a lot of money, right? It's not just about the style, it's about respecting the room and the other people around you. So if you show up to work in a t-shirt and jeans just because you're the boss and you expect everybody else to be put together at their work, now you're not leading by example. You're saying that, I'm better than you because I made money. But again, it's all about the respect. There's so much balance to style and how we put our best foot forward. Sorry, rambled on there.
No, I am grinning ear to ear because I could talk to you all day. In fact, we have to continue this conversation at a time, because I think there's so much validity in what you're saying, and you're saying things that people don't often say enough. And regardless of where we're at, need to continue to put our best foot forward. I mean, it's why I'm so passionate about doing what I do. I work with high achievers all the time. And those that stop putting in that effort are the ones that lose their edge, are the ones that start to complain, gossip, do other things that weren't in alignment with the person that got them to where they are today. And we almost forget about those things because we think it was just about working hard. It was way more about just working hard.
Yeah, I mean, like you said it earlier, it's a sense of identity in the environment, right? And that's what I think a lot of people are also missing, is the consistency of identity, right? Like if you wear a suit all the time, but then you go to the grocery store and you're wearing your sweats, and this has happened to me before, where it's like you see somebody, but you're like, oh shoot, I don't want to say hi to them, right? You don't want them to see. So it's so important because you never knows where the opportunity is coming from. So it's almost, and that's why we talk about wardrobe. I've got mustard stain on my sweater and this, and it's like, oh well, he's not really living. And Stacey, I'm being honest, this is how I used to go to the gym, right? Because I just would go and I've got a kid. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to stop doing that because that's not my identity. What if I see somebody at the gym that knows me or that knows my brand? So it's about putting your best foot forward all the time.
Again, I love that. It's the same as I feel with myself and what I do. And I'm consistently investing in myself, working with people that are at a higher level of awareness and understanding of the concepts that we talk about because of exactly that. I always say, if you're dealing with a coach and they don't have a coach, you should question the coach. You're not listening and following what they like truly teach. And that's what's so important. Or they have discipline in certain areas of your life, kind of what you're saying. I did a post the other day that said, discipline doesn't stop at the end of work. Like if you're disciplined at work, but then you have a shitty health way of eating, or you don't take care of yourself a body, like to me, and again, it's kind of the controversy thing, but that's not being true to the person you say you are in that other area because it falls into other areas. And this is why I loved what you had said earlier around creating a life that flows into one another, because it's not like I just make sure I look good here or take care of my style or represent myself in a manner here, but I represent the man that I want to be in all aspects of my life, whether that's parenting, being a caring husband, my relationships, my health, and my business. So that's really so important. And not enough people talk about it or excuse it, like just saying, oh, it's okay, which it is. But for those people, like you say, that you want to be around that winning, understand that and execute it in all levels of their lives.
Yes, exactly. That and that's what it comes down to. You're so right about that, right? Like life's got to flow as a full cycle. And again, that's what happens when no one's clapping for you. When you're doing the things right, when no one's looking for you, when there's no applause at the end of your workout, or there's no applause when you're putting your kid down for for a nap, or helping your wife out with chores around the house, right? There's no applause for that, but those are the micro integrity habits that are going to build you into being the best version of yourself.
So good. Dave, if people want more of Dave in their lives, how can they find you?
Oh, I'm everywhere. You know that. Yeah, social media. I mean, under my name, Dave Pavlich, is my personal page, and then Concept, CONX, like exposed,
Like explain.
EPPT .com is our website, and then at Concept on Instagram. Again, I'm both on LinkedIn personally and professionally with our brand. Facebook, the same thing. So I'm on all social platforms, and then our website has access to all of our social pages as well. Just want to go to concept.com and then visit our pages. We do post a weekly blog for free at concept.com, not just about clothing, lifestyle, from watches to dining, business as well, some wisdom. And then we post 5 days a week on social media as well. We give valuable insights and tips. So I like to provide that value to other people, even though you're a client or not, even if you're shopping other places, and values and insights will help you shop anywhere.
Thank you. And they'll be all included in the show notes as well. And now, are you ready for some round types of questions? Hand us up.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. I had to add a couple extra ones while you were talking because, I mean, what are you going to do? So I have a question. If there's one piece of clothing or let's say accessories that you feel any man should be wearing, what is it?
Um, I would say a timepiece. It's the easiest to connect with other people in that same kind of affluent circle. Not just affluency, but people that believe in craftsmanship. So I would say like a proper timepiece. It goes like this: a proper shoes, timepiece, and a sports coat. Those are your top three. You kind of need all three.
And Concept, we didn't hit on it here, but is expanding into female dress and wear. So what about for a woman?
For a woman, it would be. Oh, this is a good question. I would say for a woman, a really good power suit or like a skirt and suit combination will make you stand out from everyone else because it's very hard to find anywhere. So a custom skirt and blazer combination is money. But yes, yeah, we do make women's clothing as well.
Are you a coffee or tea?
Coffee for sure.
All right. What's one word you're stepping into right now?
Momentum.
What's that about?
The momentum, everything is kind of, a month over month growth, momentum at work. It's never been better. I'm doing military style workouts right now, moving into the new house. Everything is working out in my favor right now. And again, a lot of people might be watching this like, oh, this guy. It's the belief in myself and the business, and that momentum just is going in the right direction.
It is celebrating each and every win, just builds it. There's a huge differentiator between motivation and momentum. Motivation can fade, momentum you build. And so I love the fact that you picked that word. What's one habit that you've adopted recently that has really elevated your own game?
Blocking time for operations. And so I've now decided that blocking time in my schedule, and this is help with the Breakthrough Hub, is so blocking time for family, right? Blocking time for the gym, blocking time for doing operational work, like building SOPs. That's really going to escalate my business to the next level. So all of that is under, control your calendar, control your life.
Right, exactly. Student of the calendar. Where do most people play too small?
I think that a lot of people dim their light, and I've been doing it on this interview, dim their light to try and not make other people feel bad. So I think that don't dim your light. If you're a star, just shine, right? Like there's a difference between confidence and cockiness, and confidence comes from the hard work you put in. So let your light shine through.
So good. One thing people underestimate about presence.
People underestimate how much time it takes for the perception to kick in. I mean, I don't think people understand that. Like literally 7 seconds, somebody's making up their mind. Is this person competent? Would I trust them? In 7 seconds. And after those 7 seconds, it's going to take a lot of hard work if you come off negatively to rebuild that. So I don't think people are, yeah.
The impact of first impression.
Yes, absolutely.
So you mentioned that you spent a lot of time in Vegas. What was your favorite show?
Oh man, I've been so many, but La Rêve at the Wind was absolutely amazing. That was definitely probably one of the best ones. And oh, you know what? When I was 20 years old, I saw Celine Dion live. Like, it was for my mom's birthday, 20-year-old kid. I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do. I literally shed a tear. It was unbelievable. Like live, she's unbelievable.
Presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you can move a room like that. If someone is going out in Vegas, where should they make sure that they eat at?
Yeah, I haven't been to Vegas in my wife hates Vegas, so
Okay.
it's funny. So I haven't been there in a long time.
But you had a favorite place?
Okay, there's a staple in Fremont Street. It's called Hugo's Cellar, and it's like underground. It's one of the longest open steakhouses in Vegas. It's like where like the old time, like Frank Sinatra, those kind of people used to go to. Tableside Caesar salad, steaks, Hugo's Cellar, really cool.
And I know that you're this poker player. What is the most challenging hand to play for you?
For me, I love 9-10 suited, and it's challenging because it's like a sneaky hand. It's either a hit or a miss.
You like the risk?
Yeah.
All right. I am so grateful for this conversation. My last question I got for you is, what does living exposed mean to you in this season you're in?
It means being vulnerable and, showing up for what matters no matter what. I think that living exposed is that, I've kind of been doing that these last few months, is actually just living and putting your best foot forward, and being honest with yourself. When you're tired, it's okay to be tired. Just push through it, right? Like it's okay to have these feelings and to be vulnerable about these feelings and not be exactly where you thought you were going to be, and being 100% authentic with your life.
Thank you for sharing that. I really love that it's effective. I think it goes back to your discipline around allowing your standards to control your actions, not your feelings determine your standards. A lot of people start to drop their standards depending on how they feel, regardless of like just showing up and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. What stands out, there's so many things in this conversation, is that building a life isn't linear. It's not one thing at a time and it's everything at once. But what Dave's shown is the importance of finding that alignment, having that clarity, whether that's in business, your family, the decisions, how you handle pressure, growth. And the question isn't whether it's possible. It's how you show up in it. Because the truth is you don't build a bigger life by staying the same person. You become the person who can hold it and let your actions, your standards, and your presence reflect that. I love what you said, Dave, around truly understanding what it is that you want and doing it. There's no better time than now. If something in this conversation made you think differently, good. That's the point. This is Exposed Living. Be bold, be ageless, and remember, you don't get what you want. You get who you are. Continue to lead from the edge. I'm Stacey Vanthuyne, and we'll see you next time.
That's it for today's episode of Exposed Living, Be Ageless. But this is just the beginning. If this episode made you feel something, share it. Tag me. Send it to a friend. Let's start the conversation we can be having all along. No shame, no guilt. Unfiltered, raw, real, exposed. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us inside the Exposed Living Facebook community, where we take this work off the podcast and into real life. Know this. Your change starts when your excuses die. Because this life, this one wild, ageless, unforgettable life is waiting on you. This is your time. This is your truth. This is Exposed Living.